Well, hello, and welcome to a Sunday special. I absolutely had to come on. This is an impromptu show just to bring the general population, specifically our listening and viewing audience, some information regarding house flipping seminars. And, this goes all the way from the top to the bottom, from the top down. And the reason why it's newsworthy and conversation worthy is because it involves a lawsuit filed by the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and the Utah Consumer Protection Bureau against Xerix, which is a company, a collective of partners who host house flipping seminars featuring HGTV stars. And they use those HGTV stars in their advertisements to attempt to increase the credibility of those seminars. So I wanted to make sure that we brought this information to you and we created a space to dialogue about it. So welcome. Welcome. Say hi, say hello, drop a comment down below. If you're catching us on the live, I really appreciate when this is interactive and you guys can share your experiences. I posted on my Instagram and I'm sharing this now on Facebook as well to invite you to share your experiences with any of the companies that you may have utilized to learn more about how to flip homes and make more money. And the reason why I invite you to share is because that's how we can empower each other in terms of learning more about what is happening out there, like who's legit, who's hands-on really teaching this information versus the people that are not. So as you can see here, this is a source from housingwire.com. This was published October 4th. I first want to say welcome. I'm ready to go in. I'm like, let's talk about it. I'm ready to go in. Let me first do announcements and introductions. Hey, Vivian, how are you? It's great seeing you on. And I want to first do introductions. So for those of you who are new to me, welcome, say hi, say hello. My name's Lisa Porta. I'm also your host, creator, and founder of Ready Set Real Estate, the brand and company that is a proponent, supports real estate literacy and education. This is a show concept that has now been offering in the last year and a half. Gosh, we're going like on 2 years. I mean, we're in season, this is like our 100 and something episode, season 5, episode 7. And we now do agent trainings and we offer monthly webinars for the general population, for those of you to come on and learn more about real estate, because real estate is much more than having the roof over your head and paying your monthly mortgage. There's just so much more responsibilities involved, and you become more of a target as a homeowner. And I've been saying that, and I can say that from professional experience. And yes, I am an active licensed California real estate professional. So I can say that from professional experience with the people that I have been helping, that, once, somebody will put you in a property, create a mess of a situation, and then you connect with me or someone like me who is qualified to kind of guide you to either undo the mess. Undo the mess. So Vivian says, is using the name of a company against the rules. Is using the name of a company against the rules. Oh, for today, in terms of sharing, I feel like we should be able to. Now, here's the thing, because this is what's interesting with this lawsuit right here. The people that wanted their refund and it wasn't working out and they kind of were onto it and they figured out it was a scam, they had those people sign that they were not to publish, they would give them their money back, and they were not to publicize or tell people or even report them for what they were doing. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, I think this is a space so that we can give a heads up. You're right to your opinion, you're right to your experiences. So yes, there's no rule here. We're in a public forum. And I think when we can empower each other about what's going out there, and here's the thing about it, everyone has the ability to do their own research and their own due diligence. So I said good and bad. I definitely don't want to bash anybody, nor am I creating a space for people to badmouth. But if you have an experience or know of someone that's gone through an experience with a certain company, because I know of many that have been flipping houses that follow a certain business model, and we all know the upsell. We all know the false pretenses of, get in, no money down, and somehow you're gonna make 100 grand. And if it's too good to be true, like, yeah, it's probably not accurate, because we're talking about real estate here. Okay, good. So Vivian says, I do. All right, well, cool. This is gonna all the better. All the better. This makes it a great space for us to learn from each other. And again, you never know, you can help somebody else. From my personal experience, and some people are diehard proponents of Ron LeGrand. So I got scammed when I was in my 20s with the whole Ron LeGrand system, pay $2,000. And however, that system, and this is why I can come on as a proponent and a consumer advocate, because the some systems don't apply to certain states. Like California, I'm in California. Cali doesn't play, y'all. Cali is, I keep telling you, if you wanted to ever check what I'm saying, go to the Department of Real Estate, dre.ca.gov, and look at complaints. You will find a list of companies that have been operating as flip your houses seminars or wholesaling companies. Cali does not play. This is why I ended up getting licensed. This is why I ended up learning the business from legit, like legally, what can I do? And for the most part, I've learned a lot of investors who were once realtors or once real estate professionals and licensed They decided that there's that real fine line with being an investor who's flipping property and a real estate professional and a realtor, because as a real estate professional, you are bound by the state. You're bound by ethics. You're bound by fiduciary duties. And when you're acting in a role of investor, hey, there may be some things that all bets are off, and that's just kind of the stickiness of the business. And so this is why I wanted to come on and again talk about it. I talked about this 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was like episode number 2 of Ready Set Real Estate. So facts. We can go back 107 or 110 episodes ago. I had Theo Thelonious C. Jones on my show, real estate investor, just a gem of a person, wrote a great book about, having gone through, you go to the seminar, the free seminar, and to only find out that they need more money and you need more money and you need more money to do what they're saying to do. Now, here we are, fast forward now 2 years later, because that was in 2017 when I kicked off Ready Set Real Estate as a show. Here we are in 2019, and now we have the lights are on. We're shining the lights, and it's not so much, it's at a time where real estate has gotten so popular, a lot more popular than I've been around for now 20 years total in the real estate business, 13 years as a licensed professional. So 20 years total, 13 years licensed in the business. And it's one of those things. Well, it's not 20 years. Because I'm like, wait, what am I talking about? So like about 15, 16. Anyway, over a decade. And from what I've seen in my experience, this last 3 to 5 years has been one of the most active times that I've been witnessing people with all kinds of workshops, seminars, courses, trainings to show you how to flip houses. This is why, again, I brought out a wholesaler out from Cleveland, and she was on the show. And again, same thing, disclaimer, know the laws of the land for the states and cities that you are in, know those local ordinances, because they all don't operate and they're not all created equal. You can't, it's Chicago being one of them. Chicago now is requiring a broker's license to wholesale. All right. So Vivian says, people can be so awful and heartless. Absolutely. And again, this is why we're creating a space and a place to have that discussion, because we need to have that discussion about real estate investing and real estate wholesaling and flipping and all this other stuff. And here's the sad part of it. Vivian says also has no morals or ethics. And, it's funny because I kind of have this inside joke, and I'll share it with you when I connect with people in my inner circle. And I'm like, I'm just out here doing super agent-ish. And what does that mean? I'm literally cleaning up the mess that some of the agents and flippers and investors are doing, because it's sad. It's sad, and it contributes to the overall, things that we see in terms of gentrification, predatory lending, elders being targeted. I made a post about this the other day of, would it be okay if your grandmother sold her home for under market value and received a deposit of $450? For the most part, everybody agreed, heck no, that's unethical. Somebody needs to be reported. But at the same time, that's what you're being taught to do when flipping a home. Secure a contract or secure a house with zero to little to no money down. That's what you're doing. You are essentially tying up somebody's property for, a ridiculous under market value, and you're preying on somebody's situation and scenario, what they're going through. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not surprised to see something like this come forth. So let's talk about this case I really appreciate when I have lawsuits and case notes. For those of you who want the link, I'll drop the link in the caption and you can click on it. But for the most part, it's available online. So this was posted by Housing Wire. FTC claims. Oh, this is what I want to say. I wanted to say shout out to my mom and my family. We were having this discussion and my mom brought it up, and she said, "Did you hear? Did you hear about the people who flip houses? They're being sued." And so I looked it up yesterday, and I said, you know what? This is something we need to talk about on Ready Set Real Estate. And I didn't want to wait until our Wednesday show because I want to make sure we're staying abreast and on top of the most relevant news, especially for those people who are feeling like, oh, well, I'll just, I want to buy a foreclosure, I want to buy a fixer upper, and I want to flip it, but have no experience, have no concept of where the recorder's office is, have no concept of how appraisals work or the cost of appraisals, have no concept or team of inspections and inspectors or contractors or construction workers that can do the job, have no concept. And I'm not saying that because you don't know, you shouldn't pursue it. I think that becomes all the more reason you get preyed upon by organizations that are saying, we'll teach you how to flip homes and use business credit or personal credit or start, borrowing other people's money or, all kinds of stuff. So this case had all kinds, this complaint has all kinds of big no-nos about it. So, all right. So this is an accusation against the company Zurich's of running a real estate scam with the seminars. So again, I mentioned it's the Federal Trade Commission and the Urban Division of Consumer Protection. So shout out to the CPB, and that's what they are there for. If you ever have an issue with a company, albeit contractors or real estate companies, you can file complaints. You can go directly to these state departments or the consumer protection bureaus, and there's I forget the other one, but I work closely with that department as well. You can go directly to these websites and open a complaint, file a complaint, open an investigation. And what they do is they paper trail enough complaints. So clearly there's been enough complaints for the Federal Trade Commission and Utah CPB to say, hey, we've received a substantial amount of complaints, all with the similar experience and stories about what this company has been doing. And so this isn't uncommon. This is definitely not common that we see people using celebrities or influencers to appear to be legit. And this is why I say just because it's shiny doesn't mean it's real. Just because you see it on TV doesn't mean it's accurate. Just because you hear it on the radio doesn't mean it's true. And I'll give you an example of the whole radio. There was, in 2016, there was a massive radio advertisement about the Hero and Pace renovation program. You can renovate your home or make your home energy efficient with this program. And what ended up happening, a lot of homeowners ended up taking this program on only to be targeted by contractors, or what we call paper contractors, and companies, finance companies that were popping up like payday loans to tap into this money that the county was giving, that they were able to create out of selling bonds in Wall Street. And I mean, I've done a whole segment on that, so I'm not going to go into details here, but that's one example where so many people heard it on the radio and felt it was true and felt like it was a good thing to do, only to find out that these people's taxes had doubled, if not tripled, in payment because the financing to remodel their home was attached to the property taxes. That's not what they didn't tell you. They didn't tell you that in the fine print. And oftentimes we're not reading the fine print because we're excited. We can be nervous. We can be anxious. And we're being sold on the adrenaline of this will change your life. It's a lifestyle decision. It'll impact your bank account and your community. And they thrive on that. I've been to some of these, and I've been to conferences, and I've been to expos, and they all pretty much do the same thing. They sell you on the high of the whole experience and make sure they're able to sell you at the back table with the upsell. Um, so if you've never been in one of those, I would recommend you just sit in with the intent not to be bought or sold or bought in, but just to observe the whole setup. I think that's when it'll be more revealing, because I've had people reach out to me directly and say, I attended a seminar similar to this, the guys talking about flipping houses. And then after we didn't race to the back to sign up, he went on for another hour and now became exhaustive to sit in there for now 2 hours. And then the more the guy started talking, the more his whole presentation started to fall apart. And then people could start to see that he wasn't even convinced on his own abilities to offer or do what he was selling. So let's read between the lines. Let me catch up with your comments, Vivian. Vivian says, we definitely need to know because they seek out the ignorant. And again, I agree. This is why I've offered a platform and I do the things that we do, is because there's no shame in being the ignorant. But I think there's an issue when we're not seeking out the information and comparing notes. This today should be, let it be today a call to action to compare notes. Who's, oh, that's someone, Mr. So-and-so is saying about this and he's talking. Like a lot of people DM me about other people who are out here flipping houses, trainings, academies, this, that, and a third. I don't publicly come out and bash anybody's hustle or knock anybody's hustle, but I think that's what the positive is with me, is that you can connect with me one-on-one and individually. That's just something I do with people connecting with me. I'm not here looking for clout or anything like that. But I will, again, I can share my personal and professional experiences. And if somebody's had an experience, they can share theirs. You're right to your opinion. Now, in this instance, with this case, the people that had the bad experiences, in order to get their money, they had to sign that they would not publicize their bad experiences, which is illegal. Can't do that. It's a violation to do that. All right. So I get it. What else? So is there a statute of limitations? Statute of limitations for lawsuit overall is 4 years. So statute of limitations, 4 years for civil suits. So you want to make your claims, file your complaints within the 4 year. It does vary per state. So you definitely want to look within your state, what your state limits for civil suits, because this would be a civil suit. When there's fraud involved, I believe there is no statute of limitations when fraud is involved. I'm actually dealing with a fraud case now. So the court may not have a statute of limitations for fraud, but maybe departments like the Department of Real Estate does have one. So the State Department of Real Estate does have a statute of limitations in which you can come forth and file a complaint, which is 2 years from the act. And again, these things in terms of where, if you get involved in something like this, be mindful. There's something called with each state requirements as what is needed to participate in real estate activities. Let me say that again, because I was thinking about this. So they call them unlicensed real estate activities. It is illegal in various states to participate in real estate activities without a license. Okay, again, you can go to the Department of Real Estate for your state and look that up. Like literally, the Department of Real Estate for me it's my best friend. It is my favorite place to look up cases, look at case law. Why? Because every single time, this industry is under fire all the time. It's constantly changing, and you want to be up to date on what not to do. Like you may do something and be like, oh, I didn't know, because there's a recent case where there's now a lawsuit that involves a situation that you may not be familiar with. So great question. ERG is in the building. Yes. Welcome. And He says this isn't the only scam using celebrities to capture thousands of dollars from the ignorant, poor, and thirsty. You know, I agree. That is a great point. This isn't the only scam. And I will give you, Wakita says, welcome, welcome. She says, good evening. One of the other examples of that was I did an episode and a segment on this a couple months back because that was part of a lawsuit. It was the credit repair. So credit repair companies actually, three of the largest credit repair companies actually have been sued this year already. And I knew that was coming because they popped up like payday loans. I have to keep bringing up that example of payday loans. I can say with my direct connection with the BOE here in the state of California, and they also oversee corporations, making sure they're operating legit. My direct contacts have expressed to me they are going after payday loans because they are predatory and they are mainly seen in underserved and underrepresented communities. So, like I said, be on the lookout. I've I've kept my eye and watch on all these house flipping seminars for that reason. You don't see Lisa get involved in them because one, I'm a public figure and I'm a public educator. So I'm going to be on the side of education. I'm not typically going to be this on the side of the getting rich because I do this for a living and I know how involved this business is. It's very involved. So that for my professional and personal decision, I don't I don't want to be attached to people who are doing flipping homes because, again, in my state and my experience, you require a state license. And I know that people have been very predatory on seniors, people who don't speak English as a primary language, and overall minorities, underserved, underrepresented communities have been targeted all the time. I like to sleep at night. I don't want to be part of that. And I operate from ethics, and I'm really here, to protect and serve. And this is part of that conversation, is so that people realize that, real estate is a long game. And I'll just give you definitions. Someone who flips houses, who comes in terms from a wholesaling or an assignment, which means you're assigning contracts or you're tying up a property and then you're finding a buyer to buy that property from that contract. That's what a wholesaler is. From a tax code, you're referred to as a dealer. So people are out here flipping houses or calling themselves wholesalers. You're not in it, or calling themselves wholesalers and trying to use the term interchangeably as an investor. You're not an investor. That's not an investor. You're not an investor. You're a dealer. So it's important to know the terms. Monica says, good evening, everyone. Welcome, Monica. Hello, Vivian. Oh yeah, we're all getting caught up. Monica says, here they make their marketing flyers look like parking tickets. Really? That's interesting. They make their marketing flyers look like parking tickets. Whatever gets you to open it, right? Whatever gets you to the event. Monica says, I had whole neighborhoods up in arms. Yeah, I had I can imagine. And where it becomes, here's the sad part of the after effect and the aftermath is the people that do participate in wanting to learn how to flip houses. Everyone's wanting to learn how to improve their financial situation. And I think the only way, I wouldn't say the only way, there are many ways to do that, many vehicles to do that. It's just going to require your diligence in having a portion of your own funds vested, your own time, your own energy. ERGJ is in the building and founder of the Black Billionaires Club. This is something we teach and train on. I've been featured as a guest panelist and presenter and facilitator from time to time because it does require due diligence and work to increase your income and to set yourselves up for wealth. And he's someone that talks about various investment vehicles to create wealth. And it doesn't involve the fluff about, and we've seen it. So, we've seen it from, texts, what, you want to take $100 and you want to turn it to 8,000, text this, send this to my Cash App, right? I mean, we've seen all kinds of things floating around in the world of the internet. And I think because of the social media influencer marketing, that people are willing to take that quick buck, right? As an influencer or a select, quote unquote, celebrity, you'll take the quick buck so that your status can be used to attract people to be sold the flim flam or sold the BS. Seen it, been there. It's a sad situation. And I steer clear of it and I go, it's not for me. So I'm not surprised that something like this comes up. ERGJ says people want to improve their finances. What are you talking about, Willis? Well, we know which groups want to, we know the people. Fortunately, we're connected with the people that truly do want to improve their finances. And then there are the people that are not wanting to do the work. And so let's talk about some of the things that came up in this, which just really blew my mind. I want to scroll through here and see if I can find. So here's a statement right here, and I'm going to highlight it, right? So I'm going to read this to you. Shout out to those of you who are tuning in and listening to our replay on the radio podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Breaker, Castbox, iTunes, on and on and on. Thanks. So we know that a lot of these events are free. And let's first talk about this whole thing about free events. I have issues with free events. I professionally don't like to present or speak at free events. Here's why: because I do have products and services to offer. And so when you condition a people or an audience that the event is free, it creates a disservice to the vendors or the exhibitors at that event who charge to pay for a table, or charge to pay, who were charged to and paid for a booth. It creates a disservice because people want free-ish. They want free swag. They want the bag, and they put all the stuff that are offered at the tables for free. I don't mind samples, but here's the issue: when you condition people with the free events, how much information can you really gather from free? Let's really think about this. Like, people don't value free. How much information can you really get from free? And that's something that you have to be mindful about, that when you're attending these workshops and it's painted as, oh, you're going to learn X, Y, and Z. No, you're going to be told about the topics, but you're not going to get a hands-on. Why? Because if it's legit, if somebody legitimately has years of experience, they're not going to truncate years of experience. And someone like myself, 16 years and plus of experience, I'm not going to truncate that in a free event at a free seminar. That's not practical. You're paying for what somebody else has invested in themselves, their time, their money. Now, how they evaluate that, that's where this comes in, right? Because now it's a free event and they're saying, yeah, come in and learn. And then here's a line here that it says, Zurich also represents that consumers who purchased the workshop. So you attended for free. Come on in, have our cookies and lemonade or water. Have our cookies, lemonade, and water. And then you have to buy the 3-day workshop. And then the 3-day workshop in this scenario is about $2,000. So you fork over $2,000, and it says that they'll receive 100% funding. And I've heard this on multiple occasions from different people who then come to me, right? Because then they tell you sometimes to bird dog, which means you drive for dollars, you locate a property that's in distress, and they give you templates and forms and all kinds of things. Or they want you to connect with a real estate or realtor professional to pull a list of distressed properties or foreclosed properties or properties in short sale, or, all these types of distressed properties. You contact someone as an agent professional and say, hey, I'm an investor. No, you're not. No, you're not an investor. Okay. Because when I always ask for proof of funds, nobody can ever show me proof of funds. Like, I need to show that she can close a deal. but you can't show me you can close a deal, because that's when I start to ask the questions. And I really dig deep. I tend to kind of, I don't do it on purpose, but I, sometimes have to put people on a spot and let them know, like, I'm not the one. It's like facts. All right. So Vivian says, people improve their finances by whatever means necessary. Unfortunately, yeah. And sometimes when we say people improve their finances by whatever means necessary, that means at the cost of others. That means that becomes at the cost of others. I don't know. I like to sleep at night, and that's what I keep going. She says, hashtag no morals, hashtag scammers. I agree. And that's why we're having this conversation today. Monica adds, why did they only target these people? There's so many more of them out there. I'm going to leave this question up, and that's a great question. So again, this is FTC going and the Utah Consumer Protection Bureau going after Zurich's company. And yes, some people said there's so many people out there. Monica, that's a great point. You know why they went after this company? Because there was enough complaints. And this is why I said we are too ashamed or too embarrassed that when we get got or taken, we don't want to tell our stories. We don't want to tell people. And honestly, I've been there. It's not a good feeling when you're scammed. But I share my story. I share my experience, because I know that becomes an avenue to help somebody else. So that to answer your question, there are so many of them out there, absolutely, but there aren't enough people that are bold enough to actually file a complaint, because they start thinking, oh, well, I should have known it was free, and then I got sucked in. And then if you start processing the pressure, because there's a whole psychological technique to get somebody to buy in. That's a whole nother class and a whole nother topic. But it's designed a certain way. That's why I said, let's talk about this business model, right? And that's why I go back to this. This business model is free, 3-day workshop, $2,000, and then you're sold a fluff. And then what ended up happening is these people ended up being asked to pay close to up to $40,000 for these seminars, for these quote unquote trainings, so that you can learn more. So here's the other avenue that we have to hold people under the fire about this stuff. Wow, any guarantee? So great question. They do offer they offered a money back guarantee. They offered a money back guarantee, but then it came with stipulations. And that was the stipulations that was illegal. So the illegal part is you offer a money back guarantee, it doesn't work, and you find out it's BS and a flim flam, but now you have to sign a non-disclosure. You can't tell people, you can't talk. You can't tell them that this doesn't work. We're going to give you your money back, but you can't tell anybody that it doesn't work. What? That blew my mind when I was reading this. So yeah, all of this is just insane right now. Here's the other thing. There's so many things about this. So here's the part right here where it says, it says, according to the FTC, presenters at the 3-day workshop often claim that the workshop is merely a beginner course. Again, I said, how much do you really, as we think about how attending seminars, events, and how much are you really going to learn? And again, that's why it's the due diligence with looking at people up. But because we're in an era that we are looking at we are measuring public success by internet standards, it's easy to use influencer marketing, such as celebrities and influencers who have, thousands of likes, which we all know, likes and follows can be bought, and vanity metrics is real. So vanity metrics is that you are boosting your following and likes to make it look like you are official and legit. I know some folks who did that, and it's succeeded and it's benefited them. It's benefited them, and they're working the heck out of it. but I'm one of those folks that I tend to do a little bit more research and homework. And I think it's because it's the nature of what I do as a business. ERGJ says, likes is BS. I pay for performance. Ooh. That is a great one. Likes is BS. I pay for performance. And I honestly, this is for that reason, Evan, Instagram has beta tested their app in Canada and have removed the likes. They want people to get back to a space to focusing on the content, not on the likability of that person or what they're posting, so that we can really get back to being discerning, using our human capabilities, our human superpowers. However, people are they're sold on it, and that's sad. Vivian says, I got scammed by someone who had lots of likes. See, now we're talking. And this is why I said, in an era of the internet standards, we are measuring that people, they have that many followers and that they have that many video likes and whatnot. One, you can pay for likes, you can boost your videos, you can pay for all that. You can pay for the exposure. Doesn't mean it's true. Like I said, just because you see on the internet doesn't mean it's real. Just because you hear it on TV or the media doesn't mean it's accurate. And just because you hear it on the radio doesn't mean it's true. Again, the responsibility is on us. And this is why I wanted to make sure we came on and we talked about it, because these are the things that I've been sharing for years. I got into real estate in 2006 at a very high time. As a matter of fact, I was a notary public before that. So years before that, and seeing that people didn't understand what they were signing, not understanding, not reading. And it's unfortunate, because people will do, like you said, either attempting to increase their income by any means necessary, attempting to succeed, and not knowing what they're getting involved in. There aren't too many of us out there, but we've got to do the work. We've got to do the work. And today we are doing the work. Wakita says, research is the key. Absolutely. And this is why when I come on and I read something like this, and I'm sharing it with you, this is what I do. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom for example purposes. So I read through articles as we talk about research, and it talks about the complaint and facts. And, before I put anything on my platform, I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm just not going to come out and just share any kind of information. So I do my due diligence. And here's the thing. Look right here down at the bottom, and I really appreciate this. So it says to read the FTC's complaint in full, click article. See, most people won't do this work right here. Most people actually won't go through, but I do this. So when I can come on and I talk about this, this is actually the lawsuit. This is the complaint right here. This is the case that was filed. And here it is. United States District Court for the District of Utah Central Division. Here's a complaint. And then you go through the case, but nobody wants to do that research. I get it. It's okay. I'm here and I'll share it with you. But I'm giving you an example of how you dig deeper and finding out the facts. So you can actually go deeper and find out who was named in this lawsuit, right? And here you'll see who the defendants are. So we'll go through. So it says they do case summary. And I listen, y'all, I recommend you learn how to read case law and summaries. You get so much information. So here's the plaintiffs, FTC, Independent Agency of the United States, District, the Consumer Protection Division of Utah. And then here's the defendant. So here's defendant one, Zurich LLC. Defendant two, Carlson Development Group, LLC. CJ Seminar Holdings. Here's the other one, Zurich Financial. Here's the next one, Christopher A. Cannon, James Carlson. These are your defendants. One of the things that was brought up in this case was, so they used a very popular HGTV star who claimed They said, people said, oh, they used her and she never attended the seminars, right? Because how many times do we see that? And Evan brought a good point. We see various scams that use celebrities and say, oh, and so is going to be there. And then you find out that that person didn't show, didn't, never shows, or be prepared that the MC is going to say, oh, so and so had a personal emergency and they couldn't make it. How many, by show of hands, have heard that, been there, done that? Go ahead and raise your hand in the comments below. I think I've been at a couple conferences where, you know, a main person, a headliner, a keynoter who had a very big name was supposed to attend but never attended, and it was always on a personal emergency. So that's when you kind of know you're in for the flim flam. You kind of know you're in for the flim flam. You're being set up. So I want to go in here and talk about it. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I want to thank you guys for chiming in on your Sunday evening. And for those of you who are on the East Coast, I know you guys already, it's after 8 o'clock and you're chiming in and getting some of this knowledge and getting empowered. Again, like I said, creating a space and a place for us to dialogue about who has been scammed, who are those that have been targeted from this. And it's always, and I think it was Vivian that mentioned about the ignorant, but it's typically, you know, people who are really wanting to change their situation. Evan mentioned those people who are desperate or thirsty or in poverty. And what just baffles me is that, you know, they go through these seminars and then they come up with the money. You become resourceful. And it's like, if you can come up, if you can become resourceful for $2,000, and these seminars and these people are saying that stuff to you. Oh, if you want it that bad, you're going to find a way. You're going to put it on a credit card, increase your credit card limit in order to pay for it. That was named in this lawsuit. That was named as a complaint. This is what they were telling the people. Increase your credit card limit so that you can finance the properties. They were telling them to state that they misstate how much money they made in order to qualify for the financing. That's mortgage fraud, by the way. And you will serve 25 years to life for that. That is mortgage fraud. So you're not to be misstating your income in order to qualify. You are not to, thinking that you can increase your credit limit or get a credit card. That was the other thing they were saying. Go get a new credit card. Go apply for a new credit card so you can get financed. So you can get financing to purchase these properties. And here's the sad part is that they were giving ridiculous statistics about how much they can get in with. You know, you can get in with 10,000 and you're going to make 100,000. Like the return on investment on that is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Monica adds, I've been to those type of seminars. Yes. All right. I'm not alone, right? I'm not alone. I've been there. Thank you for that. So again, one of the things that I would recommend for anyone who is interested in learning more about real estate is starting with the basics. If you're not a homeowner, I would recommend that you start with basic learning. And that's understanding terms and concepts. What is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance? Where is your county recorder's office? You know, contacting a property insurance agent and finding out, hey, if I buy a house in this area, what would the homeowner's insurance be on that? You know, establishing your connections and your relationships with people in real estate. That's how you empower yourself to learn more. That way you're not subjected to something like this. Because when people want to ask me about this, I always give the disclaimer. And I want to know what someone's goals are. Like, what's your goal? Is this short term, long term? What's the goal? What's the point? What are you looking to do? And that's the difference between me as a real estate consultant advisor versus somebody who is going to push you to a program. I'm not a program pusher. I'm an educator. All right. That's the difference. So find those educators in the industry, and that's whatever industry you're in. Find those educators, those people that will educate you, because the more you know, the more confident you are to move forward and make those informed, intelligent decisions, which ultimately leads to success. But if you want to do shortcuts, then you end up succumbing to something like this. And that's unfortunate. And those becomes those hard lessons. And I think that's why people don't end up sharing their stories, is because they don't want to have to be, they don't want to be honest about, oh, I tried the shortcut, right? They're not going to want to tell people, oh, it didn't work, I tried the shortcut. But I'm telling you, without, really putting some folks on blast, me being in real estate and also being a public figure and educator on this wave right now that's happening with the real estate conversation, I see a lot of folks that have been doing tours and flipping seminars, and I have been hearing people with the backlash of their results, and they're not all positive, and they find themselves at square one again because they attempted to do the seminars and only to find out that it just costs more money to learn. So if you're being charged to learn basics, you might as well start with the basics, and I would recommend you can check out your Department of Real Estate website, get connected with the people that are doing education. Ready Set Real Estate, I offer free, oftentimes I do webinars here for free, and I do monthly webinars every third Saturday of the month where you learn something different in real estate every month, and I train agents. So get with the people that are willing to utilize their time and energy to be a proponent for you. All right. So that's my thought. Any last comments, feedbacks, questions you want to drop in? That way we can get those answered. Now's the time, or forever hold your peace until Wednesday. But now's the time. Again, I'll go ahead and copy and paste. I think I can do that now while you guys maybe formulate your questions if you want to drop any in the comment. I want to thank you all. I see some BBC members in here, so I want to shout out the BBC for dropping in and representing. And there's the link. I think if it posts, if it posts, you can go ahead and click on that, take a look at it, read it, and to answer that, go back and revisit that question as to, there's so many other companies out here who are doing house flipping seminars. Why did they pick this one? Well, because there were enough people to complain about it. That's how you get attention. The wheel that squeaks gets the grease, bottom line. So when you make enough noise about somebody's unethical activities or illegal activities, that's when you get the attention. Unfortunately, we have yet to learn that as a community because we are either ashamed, embarrassed, or we don't know who to go to. And there are state websites, departments, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You can open up a case against financial institutions that may have harmed you or may have done something that may have impacted your credit or your finances. You can go to cfpb.org and open up a case. I personally have opened up a case against Wells Fargo during the financial housing crisis. And the CFPB acts as a mediator to investigate your claims, and they give the other party 30 days to resolve or come to a resolution about your complaint. So there's resources out there, and definitely use them, okay? Use them. So Vivian adds, don't learn the hard way. Yeah, I agree. You're still gonna learn. So it just depends. Choose the route. Choose your route of learning. Choose your route of learning. All right, y'all. I appreciate you guys spending your Sunday evening with me. We're gonna get ready to wrap this segment up. Again, it'll be available on YouTube. Make sure you're connected on our YouTube, radio, podcast, everywhere. And more importantly, subscribe. Get connected at LA Super Agent. Again, Ready Set Real Estate is the platform and the brand that supports real estate education, real estate literacy. Get connected with our monthly webinars, third Saturday of each month. You can become a loyal supporter for just $5 a month. The webinars are $15, but for $5, you get access to it along with exclusive content and videos. Today was going to be an exclusive one. I decided I wasn't going to make it exclusive to our members. I actually just wanted to share this with our general listening audience. And that way you guys may consider getting connected with a platform like this so that you know that you can reach out to somebody to fact check for you. I think that's important. When you have somebody on your side, I always talk about this, and I'm going to end with this. Who's your top 5? Who is your top 5? And that's your PCP holistic doctor, your financial advisor, your attorney, your tax advisor or accountant, and your real estate professional. You should know these people. And these people are your rock. These people should have your front, back, and your side. All right. All right, y'all. This was fun. Really appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and sign us out. We are out as we conclude another powerful, information-packed episode of Ready, Set, Real Estate. We'll see you on Wednesday for episode 8. Woohoo! Season 5. We doing it, y'all. See ya.